My name is Susanna Barger, and this is my senior moment. Susanna, Suzu, Susie, Sue, Susie Q, Susanna Nana Nana, and Susanna. My name is one that easily lends itself to interpretation. Over the course of my life, I have been called all of those sarcastically and seriously at least once. That's not even including the million permutations of Barger that New Hampshire's million accents can produce. Why make such a big deal out of a comparatively normal name? Because the several and a half ways of going about saying Susanna illustrate my relationship to something names often play a key role in: identity. To understand this, you're going to need some background. I started Derryfield my sophomore year, and with a new school, surrounded by new people, new rules, new places, it was the first time I really felt pressured to do some serious thinking about who I am. So, on top of trying to cobble together the group of nerds I call friends, on top of learning how extracurriculars worked, on top of adjusting to an academic schedule far more intense than anything I'd experienced before, or just figuring out what the heck the schedule is in general around here, I decided to add all the harrowing reflection and choices and decisions that coincide with defining myself as a human to that list. Consequently, as many people who were around during that time to testify, I sort of exploded. Naturally, I've done some reflection on all the stuff that led to that combustion point, but the key bit I want to talk with you today about is that elusive idea of identity. Not in the sense of labels, and by labels I mean anything from your hair color to your sexual preference. No, I'm talking about the thought that somehow all your little traits and quirks and bits and bobs add up to some cohesive whole of a person. That would be a great nonsense insult, by the way. If someone says something nasty to you, try calling them a cohesive whole. Actually, don't do that. I don't want to get in trouble for teaching you insults are the way to resolve conflict. In all seriousness now, I'm talking about identity and the idea that there is a collection of ideas floating inside a brain whose choices and feelings add up to Susanna. Some would say this topic seems a little outside of my realm of qualifications as an 18-year-old high school pre-graduate, but I think what I have found is both timely and relevant for most of my audience. So, what did I learn while repeatedly cutting all my hair off, phasing it through multiple nasty shades of orange, trying clothing styles and lipstick shades anywhere from passable red to garish Barbie pink, and doing some truly interesting things with my eyeliner? I learned that like there seems to be no set way to interpret Susanna, there is no set way to define yourself as a person. Identity is not a statement, it's a negotiation. As a teenager, people are constantly asking you questions. What do you do for fun? Are you a math person or an English person? What do you want to do in college? What kind of job are you looking for? And more. Tucked inside all those small talk type conversation starters is this deeper question: who are you? And it's asked as though there's some concrete truth to be found. It's almost as though people expect us to find that by being into theater or art or astrophysics or whatever, we'll discover our ultimate destiny as a paint-slinging, cosmos-studying A-list superstar. However, the reality is far more nebulous, pardon the pun. For example, at one time in my life, I seriously considered a career in medicine. This was before I understood my own deep squeamishness, and before I took seriously the applications of my creative talents. But I digress. My freshman year, I was half sold on being a doctor. Was I any less myself in freshman year, putting much of my energy into biology and science courses than I am now? If I continued to pursue that path, would I be ignoring what some would call who I am, or would I simply be accessing a different side of myself? Let Let me pose the question a different way. I'm more of a heavy-set individual. If, over a long period of time, I lose weight, would I be fundamentally different than I am now? Is having what I lovingly call the body of an Italian grandmother a central part of my identity? What I have come to understand is, going back to that name example, that people do not have a central defining aspect of themselves that has to be discovered like it's some kind of secret. Rather, there are pieces that trade off in importance over time. The word Susanna has 7 letters in it. Susu has 4. Sue, my way of spelling it, has 2. Yet somehow they're all more or less my name, getting used at different times with different people and having slightly different meanings. In similar fashion, I'm artistic. I enjoy writing, I read. But whether I'm a painter this month or a sketch artist, whether I'm into nonfiction histories of ancient Rome or Tolkien-style fantasy, whether I'm an essayist, a poet, or a playwright this week, that changes with the wind. Even my list of quality shifts. I selected those 3 because those seem the most important right now, but 2 months ago I would have talked about hair colors, cooking, and crochet. And I am still the same person. It's just in that, in place of a central collection of all things me nestled in some part of my skull, my identity's fluid, with different pieces being rotated in and out over time. Likewise, if we're talking about bodies and image, characteristics such as physical appearance wax or wane in importance to my overall being. But the me in January who thinks about joining a gym is the same me around Easter who eats half a pack of marshmallow peeps without regret. The importance of physical fitness in my life has simply changed. If our identities are in this constant state of flux, though, how can we ever figure out who we are, as it seems so many fields want us to? Like college essay prompts. My answer here is that you can't. And this is not a Richard III despair and die type moment where I'm saying give up hope on ever figuring out who you are. Quite the opposite. I find the idea of never knowing all I am empowering. Since identity is a moving target, a ceaselessly evolving smorgasbord of interests, hobbies, jobs, skills, and values, pinning a statement of "this is who I am" to it is like saying, well, it's like if the upperclassmen said their 7th grade selfie was what they looked like now. And for me, it's empowering to know I'll never fully define it, because that means there will always be room to try a new hobby, new passion, or develop an otherwise neglected interest. Therein lies the most important part of what I want you to understand today. I'm borrowing a little bit of Aristotle's phrasing, at least, when I say this, but all the previous thinking has led me to the conviction that character is a state of being concerned with choice. Our lives are made up of traits we select consciously and unconsciously, through our words and our deeds. I was not a painter until I started painting, and hand in hand with that, I'm no longer on track to pre-med because I've let those talents languish. Identity is a negotiation. We are haggling and redefining and discovering. My call to you now is not to bemoan the fact that you will never fully comprehend who you are, but to celebrate it. Because in the idea that there's no predetermined characteristics, no permanent identity, is the one that we are the curators of our own lives, and our experiences are within our power to shape. Though sometimes we may not be able to control what happens to us, we can control our responses and who we become because of them. So I charge you, go forth and become. Find comfort in your own possibility and know that it is never too late to transform into the person you want to be. Thank you.